This is going to be a little different. We're actually taking a tender out this time. Probably just as well because it looks like the port itself is occupied by another ship. Okay, so we are aboard our tender, and unlike our usual habit of going to the back of the bus, we're going to be heading towards the front. Though to be fair, there's not much to see over here, so we're going to try and park near this window here. Not perfect. All you get to see out this window at the moment is the ship itself, but we're going to be moving soon enough. Compared to tenders that we've ridden in before, this one is relatively small, and again, so is the ship. Now we head off, and on our way into icy STRAIT point, which is not where I expected to be, but it's not like we had any expectations to begin with. Incidentally, while we have the Viking accoutrement right here, this is not the Viking Orion beside us, but rather the Oceana Riviera. They were here first, so they're actually docking here while we're using the tender. So now we go ashore at the Tlingit village of Hoonah and see what there is to see. I'll be honest, I forget the name of it, but I was informed that the forest that this is up against, and most of the island, Chichagok, is part of a national forest, which is literally the largest one in the entire United States. Which, I mean, it's Alaska. Everything is bigger here. Sorry, Texas. I suspect this is what we're going to be taking as part of the tour. Well, as it turns out, we have basically an all-day pass to get on this gondola ride. So I think we're going to defer it. We are going to try and grab breakfast in town, assuming we can find our way there. And then later on, we'll come back here and get a view from up top there. Now there are a lot of places that are roped off one way or another, which is a bit of a nuisance, but it looks like this nature trail will take us into town, so to speak. Compared to our walk to the Monkey's Hot Springs in Nagano, we've got better weather and much drier ground, so that's something. But likewise, we're heading up and up while we do so. Wow, it just keeps going up and up. And at the same time, it's nothing compared to the trees ahead of us, standing ramrod straight. Oddly enough, we've probably only gone 1/10 of a mile, and there's already a place to sit down and rest if we wanted to. I don't think we're ready for that. Now all of a sudden we start to go down. So we're going to be going uphill both ways and downhill. There are some interesting formations here in the along this path. I'm not sure if it's maybe it's just from the felled tree and the roots. They also talk about looking up to see some nests. Might be eagles, might be other birds. We've been hearing some, but we don't recognize what any of the calls are. Yeah, it's not like we're members of the Audubon Society or anything like that. We're just making our way through, just trying to be careful because unlike the trail in Nagano, it's not exactly, there's no guardrails or anything like that. And while the fall off isn't quite as steep as there, it'd be hard to get back up from dropping off the road, that's for sure. Came across this sign posted in the middle of the forest talking about how despite all the wildlife that there are here, there are no snakes, which stands to reason. I mean, Cold-blooded creatures aren't going to do very well in a place like this. Never mind that one of the staff, when we were getting aboard the tender, was all like, "See you later, alligator," which caused me to react with, "Wait, there's alligators here?" Although, to be fair, there probably are a few snakes in Alaska, but they usually deal with them by sending them to Washington. Seem to have wandered into the middle of a high ropes course, too, while we're at it. And not only that, but there seems to be a gondola connecting the port with the town. At least that's my guess.
Get our steps in.
Yep. I mean, this entire area is kind of built up specifically for tourism, although I have to admit, it seems a little weird that if you're going to try and attract tourists, you could do better than calling the place Icy Straight Point. Why emphasize the fact that it's cold and cramped here? We seem to have arrived at a port behind us at the Duck Point Lodge here, and well, it's not quite in town. It's sort of a way station along. So we've got about half an hour or 40 minutes in order to get down to where I think we want to go. They've also got something of a boardwalk here, so we're going to take that and see where it leads us. This area is said to be a really good place to be whale watching and the like. There are some excursions that take off from here that almost guarantee that you'll see something. I don't happen to be skilled enough or lucky enough with this camera that if one jumped out at this point, I'd actually catch it. So again, we're a pair of city boys just wandering around. And there is a bit of town life here, or so it seems. Well, at least we're seeing a seaplane taking off. Wonder where it's headed. Well, from this area, it's going to be a 1.5 mile walk, so we've been informed. Had to ask somebody because honestly, we've got no reception here, so gotta trust people rather than maps. Of course, it hardly takes any 1.5 miles before we get to a sign welcoming us there. They at least let us know how far we've gone. Although I'm not sure about this flag flying from the bench. Oh, I don't doubt that it's supposed to be there. It's just what it is, what it represents. I'm not certain about that. We've been seeing different flags on the benches along our way, and I'm just realizing that since this is the Veterans Memorial Pathway, it seems that each bench as we go along is adorned with the flag of a different branch of the service. Although, I mean, that last one is for prisoners of war and missing in action, so that's a separate thing entirely, but it still has to do with our veterans. And there is no end to the scenery around here. Mountains, valleys, water, really is something. And we're walking right next to it. And just like in Kodiak, we're seeing a fair number of waterfalls as we go along our path too. Well, now we're certainly hearing a few more birds. I think they're maybe ravens or the like. They don't seem to appreciate us walking by and disturbing them. I guess they're more used to the fact that the folks here don't disturb anybody. I give the owners of this bar full marks for an inventive choice of names. Sorry, honey, I'm staying late at the office. Don't wait up for me. I don't know how well that works around here, especially considering how small this town is, and everybody probably knows that joke, but well, the traffic's picked up, so I guess we're just about here now. Just as a reminder, this is a primary Tlingit native village, and the totem poles are here in a sort of matter-of-fact way. They're not really commemorated or anything like that. They're just there because this is the family that owns this area or something like that. Even the local school has totem poles in front of it. Possibly high school and middle school? I don't know. although they also seem to have a fence around the place. Then again, they have this drop-off between the parking lot and the school, so maybe that's part of it. Now, one of the locals right here has pointed out that in the top of this one tree there's an eagle's nest. It certainly looks big enough to be one. We just saw the eagle fly in there. As usual, we spot it, and by the time I get the camera out, you can't see it anymore. Daniel says he thinks he sees something stirring up there, but at the moment, well, maybe there is. I see some movement. But it is hard to spot from this distance. There it is. We think we've spotted the town hall, which is one place we were advised to check out in order to get our bearings. But I have to admit to being a little puzzled. There's no indication on the outside as to what this building is. It just seems like it should be because it's got the largest totem pole out in front of it.